polyopogon sponge. And a lot of these whips that we identified earlier is actually being primnoid. There are some bamboo whips, but a lot of these are unbranched members of the primnoid family. Possibly Narella hawaiiensis would be one suggestion. And let's see what else we got here.
Move's complete. Just a couple minutes of swing, probably.
Copy that.
A small swimmer there, video. Coming to center. Up, he's on the move. Focus near. And he's gone.
And there's another species of the polyopogon, hexactinella glass sponges in the background. When we're surveying through these sites, we do try to see if we can identify and actually put in an annotation software every type of animal that we come across. And so it's a new thing that Okeanos Explorer just started doing this past year, thanks to Mashkour Malik, who identified some software out of Canada from Ocean Networks Canada that we are using. It's called Seascribe. And so we're doing our best to keep up with observations and still keeping our eye on event logs and the main screen and all types of things. But we hope to make it as easy as possible for scientists to go through the video and kind of quickly understand what the community was like that we surveyed. So we're in one of these areas. We've lost the big bamboos, but we've still got a lot of these smaller ones and sponges and primnoid corals and some beautiful pillow formations. I think Dave likes to run these cracks.
Oh, I'm hoping there's something of interest lurking down there.
I hope so. Another kind of third urchin there.
Right.
On the left.
Yeah. So that's the Chomacosoma. Yeah.
That's all right.
Probably 290 for that next move.
So again, this is one of these
285,
little
290.
walking sea urchins.
Okay.
If you look at the spines around the lower edge of the body, they have little walking pads, little sort of horseshoe-shaped, or maybe not horseshoe, but little cylindrical
probably ready for that move.
Coatings that cover the spine
ready
tips, and it
now.
uses these to walk along the sea bottom.
Yeah, ready for a move, range 30 meters, bearing 290 degrees, speed 0.2 knots.
I believe they feed on just sort of organic material in the sediment. These can be quite poisonous.
It's a good copy.
And but they're very poorly known, and the skeletons that make up the central body tests there, the round body is actually called the test, the skeleton, is very fragile and very thin, and a lot of times these come wide, very badly damaged.
He's on the move.
They're not very sturdy.
Set him a little bit.
Oh, is that a sea? Oh, no, it's a sand.
Yeah.
There's a star-shaped
RV nav.
sand
Move
pool.
initiated.
Move initiated. Thanks, Bridge.
What do we got here? Crinoid. Snap zoom.
Yeah, crinoid. That's a relative of that sea urchin we just saw.
Wide, please.
Say again, Scott.
Sorry, I said that there may be a sea pen down in that groove with the sediments, but as we were zooming in, I changed my mind. I think it's just a dead skeleton of a sponge.
Yeah, that's what I think it is also, Scott.
Good, watch lead. Distance to waypoint 2 from the ROV is 560 meters. And from ROV on bottom to the ROV, we've gone maybe 165 meters. Yeah. Absolutely.
So what's the, is that just a sponge underneath
No, I think that's
holothurian.
Holothurian. Zoom, please.
Oh, a holothurian.
Video. Zoom, please.
It is.
Yeah, looks like. Let's see if it has all the things. Yeah, more Hansenothuria-like, I guess. A synallactid, maybe. But the nice thing about this one is, is that actually a starfish on the? Or is that a pile of mush? Anyway, so sea cucumber. But what we're seeing is the gut through the transparent body wall of this sea cucumber. That's pretty much its intestine and what it's been eating for probably the last couple of days. They absorb organic material off the sediment, and in the process, they essentially clean the sediment. They remove all the organic materials from it, and when they're done, it'll just all get excreted out the end, and it'll move on. Sometimes they swim, and then drop all of that behind.
Do we go for the
It really depends on the species, but they're important to the ecosystem down here because they can actually change the microbial fauna of the sediment, and they can make the sediment more available for other animals which burrow through it.
Wide, please.
Do you want to go for the star?
Thank you.
All right, pilots, watch these. Want to
Right
make
down at
tracks.
the bottom, center.
So we're going to try to. We've been going at a pretty good pace the last couple moves.
I bet that is it.
But
Video wide, please.
I don't know. It's a star-shaped. Yeah, it's a star-shaped shell. Oh well.
Nav, so when you
one
want to pick
can
up the speed
Have we
of the
seen a
ship,
starfish
or
there?
I'll just
keep
Not
the
even
moves
a
going?
yeah, keep the moves going. I selected waypoint 2,
karma
so you can read your bearing relative to that. But basically, kind of acquire a ridge, and
That's
then
it.
I think as we move, it'll get steeper. Contours get closer together, and then it'll be more obvious. But
Poke over to the south here and see if I see edge while I have some tether.
yeah, 290, 300 there. It's gonna be the direction, I think.
Copy.
I'm going to run out of the picture here for a minute, Don, and just see if there's an
All right.
edge over here.
Yeah, so what's going to happen here is up ahead, and I'm sort of looking at the high pack thing. We're going to go a little faster here. We've got some nice corals, and as Dave correctly knows, sometimes right along the edges of these ridges too, that's where you get the denser corals. And take a look at this. Got a lot more stuff that have showed up. But also just a little note that up ahead we're going to get steeper topography right in front of us. So that also might produce a richer
bridge, move complete.
cluster
Move
of
complete.
corals.
Thanks, Mitch.
So they're going to go ahead and try to pick up pace while still getting close-up requests. And
Moves complete.
see
So
what
you
we
got
can
maybe
do.
2 minutes, 3 minutes to swing.
This
Copy
looks
that.
like where it starts to take off down the hill.
Yeah, and look at that. You did notice that, Dave, where as soon as you scooted over, we got
Big stuff.
big stuff and more stuff.
Okay, I'm starting to tug on my co-pilot here, so I've got to go back. Gotta go back home. So we're only 20 meters or so from the edge on our current track.
Mm-hmm. Got into Rita Gorgia. We imaged that earlier on, and there's a nice little stand of a whole variety of smaller primnoids.
Yeah, this is giving me an idea that maybe current really does affect the sort of associated fauna, because I bet that when we get into a place with slower water current, that's maybe when we'll start to see the starfish, because maybe there's something about the water current that keeps them off of the corals. That might be an interesting test.
So he's running back to the Sirius vehicle. Got out there a ways to give us a loot. Go ahead, Scott.
You might want to look up, Don. I'm hoping to come in front of you.
Unbranched and was really coiled, like an Iridogorgia with no side branches, and I wonder if that may have been a
Get you behind
six-tabbies
him.
or a
You're still
radicchio.
off to.
High pack has you behind him.
Okay.
I missed that, Scott. So, yeah, I'll be on the lookout for Atasipis. That sure would be a good spot if we were able to see one of those, since we've only seen it once, I think, in 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. And they're, they have pretty fine diameter, so they're a little bit hard to see when you're moving quickly. But I just wanted to call out your attention.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay, let me turn my head so I can see.
Well, I'll
where
just
you
come
are.
to you.
All right.
I think this is the proper way again. I just circled around behind instead of...
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we didn't put anything in that tether, though. Shouldn't.
So we've covered, of course, we had some beautiful close-ups, but we covered about only
There you are,
160
the fish eye.
meters in the first 4 hours of the dive. That's why we're making a little bit of tracks, because we have 560 meters to go to waypoint 2. And, of course, if we get a really nice stand, we'll poke around for a bit, but it'd be good to kind of understand the overall community ecology a little bit better at the site.
There you are.
So these flats won't persist too much longer, and then we'll start seeing some steepness. We're still on a very sharp ridge. We just happen to be on a very sort of flat
Ranger
crest
sonar
part.
out pilot.
Okay.
There's 50. Ready for another move?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I got my run, and
I want to turn back to like 290.
Sounds good.
All right.
Kind of a wrap so far. We also have both of our rocks.
Bridge,
we
Robbie,
have
now.
our first biologic,
This is the bridge.
which
Go ahead.
is a
Yeah, ready for a move.
sponge
Range
that
30
has a,
meters. Bearing 290
commensal
degrees.
black
Speed
coral amongst
0.2
its
knots.
tissues. So that's
Range
not
30
something we see
meters,
every
bearing
day.
290
In
degrees.
fact, it's pretty rare.
Speed
So we went
0.2
ahead
knots.
and
It's a good copy.
took a
Coming up.
specimen of it. While we're waiting here, let's see who we've got in the event log. We got Mike Ford joining us, who's a premier midwater animal specialist, and he knows a lot of stuff cruising over the bottom as well. Got Les Watling, Jonathan Tree, who you heard from just a few minutes ago, a geologist at the University of Hawaii. Bruce Mundy, who's everybody knows is a premier fish biologist. Asako Matsumoto from the Chiba Institute in Japan. In addition to the OER staff,
Arlene Ave
we've
Bridge,
got
move initiated.
Matt
Move
Dornbeck
initiated.
here
Thanks, Rich.
and Megan Cromwell. I'm not absolutely sure from NCEI. Oh, okay. Glad you could join us, Megan. We got Nolan Barrett and Scott France, Tara Luke, Tim Shanks, and Tina Molitsova joining us from Moscow. So that's terrific. I'm just also getting caught up on the event log jokes too. So I think we've created a monster here. We're getting some good coral jokes here. Oh, yeah, we do have I thought we saw a fish there. A fish that just went off screen to the left, but that's okay. I'm not sure we can see him. He's moving fast. There he is in the background there, left to center. There he goes, by the Iridogorgia.
Oh, I got him. Got him. Yeah, he's headed out of range here.
Okay.
Off into the... Although that may be the same eel. They tend to hang around. Let's see if we can...
Well, I'm not getting a good look at that. It was moving kind of fast, faster than most of the fish that we see at these depths.
Yeah, I think it could be a rat tail, Bruce. Yeah, in fact, I'm almost positive it's a rat tail.
You know, it looks fairly large. I wonder if it's a Coryphonoides species.
To your toes there.
They're large scavenging or predatory rat tails, although the head doesn't look quite right for that, but it could be a Coryphonoides.
Yeah. Thank you, Bruce.
There we go.
And of course now we know that we're supposed to call them grenadiers. That's the official name, but rat tail is another name. I don't know, Chris. What do you think? Coryphonoides or something else? The head looks rather rounded. The snout looks rather rounded.
I don't think I got a good enough look, Bruce. I'm going to put it, and you probably are going to put it in as well, but the Coryphonoides question mark, I think that's a reasonable guess, of course. But
Thanks.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. It seemed like it was pretty good sized, and it was moving fast like one of the larger predatory or scavenging mucurids. So Coryphonoides is as good a guess as any, but we'll just have to remember it is a guess.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
So more bamboos. I'm keeping my eye out for something that Scott France mentioned was a potential species that would be really exciting if we could find one here. It's not present in our current view, but we do have some glass sponges on the bottom here, mixed in with bamboo corals and other types of corals. We're on Wetmore Seamount. That's a proposed name, as you've heard me mention before, for the seamount that was only mapped just a few months ago by the Falcor, the Schmidt-Ocean Institute's premier ship. That's out in the Pacific right now as well. So another big, beautiful Iridogorgia. And sort of interesting as the pilot goes a little more toward the center. It almost looks like it goes down. It almost looks like it goes down a little bit, like there's a little dimple right on the crest, and then toward the edge it might be a little bit higher. So another one of these Iridogorgias, a couple of them now. So we had several stands here at this location on the ridge.
Those are great looking animals,
They're
I must say.
beautiful. Just a note as we're passing over the substrate. So our mapping lead and his team, so Mashkor Malik and Naya and Kevin, who are up all night mapping a seamount to the south of us right now. Mashkor had come up with an alternate plan to what was originally proposed. We had some previously unmapped seamounts that we were considering right after this dive, and Mashkor suggested another one that we were only planning to map originally, and we were going to have to take off the table when we lost a couple days there. And he suggested going down there and mapping it anyway, and then consider doing a dive on the site. And they did get down there, and they were able to map it because, incredibly, it was a ridge-shaped seamount that was in the exact orientation as their survey lines, and they just totally lucked out. Well, probably a little bit of luck and a lot of skill too, mapping a major portion of that seamount, and it looks wonderful. The summit comes up about 2,500 meters. It's a little bit deeper,
that move
but
just
it is
completed,
a beautiful
pilots.
ridge
Copy.
that's
Tag
extending
on.
north-south.
Move completed.
And
Move complete,
if
Bridge,
you
thanks.
folks hang on toward the end of the
290
dive,
still
when
look good, or
we
you
do
wanna
our
turn more to
post dive and
starboard,
then
or
our pre-dive for
forward?
tomorrow, we can
High
show
back
you the
suggests
It's hard
feature.
to tell.
Yeah.
We came up with it as an alternate
Looks
plan
like,
because we were going to have challenges in mapping and diving
It looks
the
like
next
2.8,
few sites.
8.5,
So I
2.80,
thought
something like
Mashcore's
that.
idea
Maybe a
to
little
do
more
the
to
seamount was
forward.
really
280.
brilliant.
What
And
do you
that's going
think,
to help
Dave?
us a
What do you
lot.
reckon?
Well,
Yeah.
So
you know, it kind of looks like the edge
stay
of
tuned
the world
for that.
right
Yeah,
there.
it's kind of
Previously
up and down.
unmapped
So
seamounts.
it's hard to say.
Let's go
And
285.
It
and
is
see
the
what that
second
is.
285.
bridge-like seamount that they've mapped from scratch on this cruise, and we've mapped 5 of them
Almost looks
that
like
have
we're
never
gonna
been
go
mapped
down
before,
in the
Bridge,
little
Arvin,
which
out.
is astonishing.
dip here.
This is the bridge. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're ready for a move here. Range 30 meters, bearing 285
So it
degrees, speed
Adds to previous
0.2 knots.
Okeanos work, Kila Moana work,
That's
work,
range
Falcor
30
work.
meters, bearing.
So we're slowly but
285,
surely
speed
getting all of the
0.2.
seamounts
copy.
mapped
Coming
in
up.
this wonderful monument, the Johnston Atoll Unit of the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument.
Chris, may I make an observation here?
Sure.
Yeah, so we're just passing this bamboo coral in the center, lower center, and we've seen it before, but I've noticed many of these colonies, the upper branches, it's a fan-like colony, but the upper branches are curled, kind of like you curl your fingers, and that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure if it's just
move
responding
initiated.
to
Move initiated. Thanks, Bridge.
short-term current, or if it will remain that way, in which case it's not going to continue to grow upright like a fan, but maybe we'll see them again. I've seen it several times on this dive.
Okay, I'll look for that, Scott. Thank you.
So, Chris,
Yeah.
It's curled the same way that a lot of these whips are curled at the end, except that it's a fan.
Okay. Yeah, pilot.
so when I relieved the previous watch, they indicated the current had been quite strong out of the south. And when I came on, they were, up on top here, and there was very little current at all. But now it is definitely coming from the north.
Uh-huh.
And you can see both the sediment that I've stirred up and all the coral is leaning over to the left, which is kind of in a southwesterly direction. So things have changed. So I don't know whether this is tidal or what, but
I think it is tidal, pilot, because my office is sort of situated in amongst a bunch of oceanographers at the University of Hawaii, and while currents are really complex everywhere from the surface down to the deep ocean, I think as a general rule a lot of these deeper current flows are dominated by tidal currents, and also the movement of the earth as well, which is always rotating in the same direction. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we went through a tidal change.
yeah, I'm off my thrusters and facing just east of north, and it's pushing me backwards. So the water has started moving in a different direction than earlier in the dive.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Dave. I appreciate it. That's valuable information. And so we had another site like this, if you remember, where we had sort of a north-south current as well in this area, and therefore I wonder if ridges that are oriented sort of more east-west might wind up having a little stronger current flow over them in richer communities. But anyway, we've got a couple of holothuroidians. This is sort of a little more barren area on this site.
Snap. Zoom, please. You guys could hold that. Thank you.
Yeah, another one of these purple Hansenothuria type sea cucumbers. The dark mouth and the lighter body. Don't see the gut as nicely, but handsome animal nonetheless.
We're some distance off here. I'm just going to float by. Wide, please.
To modify that phrase that always gets put on work posters, the worst day with a sea cucumber is better than the best day at the office.
Actually, he's lined up for a very good peek inside here. Now we can zoom again.
You should have heard some of the, or you should have read
Zoom,
some of
please.
these chat room jokes about the whip corals, about which way they're leaning and whether they're liberal or not.
Oh, I'm not going there.
Yeah, we
Just
won't
come
go
out a
there.
Yeah, this one's recently been invented, so I think it doesn't quite have all of that lower intestine sediment goodness. No, you can see the tube feet though.
A little more zoom. A little more. No, in. Zoom in, please.
Do you think? I was just wondering where you think.
There we go.
All right, so what's the most popular sock for a holothurian? Tube socks.
Oh, you have too much brains. You know what to do with, Chris.
Okay, we're getting out of control here.
Okay,
This
you
is,
can get the full animal. Zoom out to full animal.
at least it was marine, wasn't it? It was
yes.
kind of related.
Thanks.
I would say a little submarine there. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, no, so this is great. You can see some of the intestine, and you can even see. Sometimes sea cucumbers don't look immediately pentagonal, but you can sort of see at least some of the other tube foot rows that are extending along the side of the body. And so the tube foot rows occur in 5 rows along the body, rather
ROV
than
nav, bridge,
as like with the
move
sea star
complete.
radiating
Move complete.
out
Thanks,
from the
Bridge.
center.
And wide, please.
Something standing up off the bottom there, straight ahead of you. Look serious view. Oh, there we go. Bamboo.
Yeah.
All right, so Scott was noticing some curls at the top of bamboos. I don't know if this one has got the curl he was talking about, but we'll pass by this way and. I don't know, Scott, is that curly enough? Is that what you were referring to, the top of this colony? I think this is the one that we imaged right off the bat down on the bottom. But we can go ahead and move on, pilot. This is fine. We've got some imagery of that same type of colony.
Yeah, this is not what I was referring to, Chris.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
So, yeah, no problem. What I was referring to is a smaller colony, broader, very white in color, thinner branches. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
The
I'll
move just
definitely let
completed.
you know
What
if I
direction are you guys thinking for the next
Okay,
move?
thank you, Scott.
Or used to we did 285
Dave
last
is
time.
venturing over to the edge again.
We want to try to stay on the ridge if
Yeah.
possible.
290.
290. Okay.
I concur.
I think you guys are probably ready for one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds great. Bridge, RV nav.
This is the bridge. Go ahead.
Yeah, ready for a move. Range 30 meters, bearing 290 degrees, speed 0.2 knots.
Range 30 meters, bearing 290 degrees, speed 0.2 knots.
Sure what that is down
Thanks,
there.
Rich.
I think
Coming up.
It's just a primnoid. We're looking off into space here. Look at that. So it's just dropping away.
So you said this is going to pick up the.
Yeah, so you can see the contour lines over here on high pack. We're kind of on this, we've been on this sort of flatter area, and now they're all tightening up
Okay.
ahead.
So we should be able to start heading up
Yeah,
smaller
it's-
contour lines.
Yeah, and steeper terrain, and you never know, but sometimes that's a little more productive. But this is in and out. Like, we didn't see anything a minute ago, and now we're starting to see some animals pick up. It's just
ROV nav, move initiated.
how to
Move initiated.
explain
Thanks,
the
Bridge.
patterns we see down here is always very puzzling.
Mm.
That's one of the unbranched primnoids. It's probably Narella hawaiiensis that we've been seeing all day. Pilot, could we zoom in on this fan-shaped colony that's right ahead? I can't remember if we logged this one or not, but I think this is potentially a Calyptrophora, and maybe even Calyptrophora angularis, and it's got some commensals on it. It might be worth noting here. Or associates is what we refer to them now.
And we're clear to zoom video. Looked like a little squat lobster scurried off there in the background. Oh,
Got a couple different types of echinoderms,
Little
would you
pollock.
say, Chris?
Yeah, so you got some brittle stars, some Ophiocanthids, probably in the genus Ophioplinthaka, as well as feather star. Oh, and we saw actually a stocked crinoid a whiles back while you were at lunch, I think. So
Go in to
feathers,
show the
both of these
animals?
animals, while sort of very different looking, are actually doing the same thing. They're filter feeding. They're using their spines and or the projections on the... What was that?
that's a squat lobster, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was moving quite... Oh, geez. It's moving backwards, like all across the...
Yeah, he's, there he is.
In a very comical way, yes.
Snap in for an ID here. Just keep him in frame.
This is part of his workout routine.
Actually, I don't know if that's... Is that a squat lobster or is that something different?
That's a squat lobster.
That's a
It's in the genus Munidopsis, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And it's kind of nice. That could be the first munid or second, because the other one was a darker colored one. I think we
Yeah,
used before.
This, a rare albino squat lobster.
Where albino? That's right. These
What-
things are.
Has he got things growing on his feelers there? We got any more zoom there, Bob?
No, that's Max.
No, I think there's some... I don't know exactly what you're seeing, but...
He's got fuzz on his antennae. Or
Oh, yeah, that's natural. There
Okay.
are little hair-like strands that come off of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very fine. There's a nice pentacrinid larva from a feather star in the front there. If you remember the feather star we saw on that coral just a moment ago, these are actually the juveniles of feather stars. They look like stalked crinoids. And so what happens is the cups on these little things, when they're mature, they pop off like little space landers, and then boom, you get a feather star. And
still on the move,
sort of the
pilot?
stock is just kind of
Yep.
left behind.
And we're over top of you.
So if there's a lesson for
Come wide, please.
life from stock crinoids, it's that sometimes you leave your stock behind and fly away.
That coral, I think, is Calyptrophora angularis.
Let's
Should we
get
zoom
a
in and
full
get an
zoom
ID?
here just to see the...
Yeah.
Yeah, seems like we're getting some agreement there in the chat.
Okay, that gives him a peek at the...
So, are we good, Chris?
got it
Here?
Yeah, yeah, no,
Right.
I'm happy
We're
with
good?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I must be off.
So we do joke around a bit here, obviously, and for that squat lobster too. I think maybe a lot of those crabs we just don't see them sort of moving across the substrate fast like that, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's how they do it, kind of backwards with their tail tucked underneath them.
Yeah.
And
Well, I don't know. It might have also been sort of affected by the lights or something, startled it, perhaps.
could be.
Yeah.
If they're going slow, they might move forward, but if they're trying to do an escape response, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they would be going backwards.
Yeah. I mean, most people may recognize that sort of escape response as what happens if you provoke, say, a lobster or a crayfish.
ROV nav bridge, move complete.
Move complete. Thanks, Bridge.
Nope, that was dead. Okay. Still straining to see something a little bit different.
Don, I'm going to push out
We've
ahead
got
if you
a-
want to swap out with me and fly for a while.
Okay, sure.
I'll get us
We have
shove
a-
out here a little bit.
All righty.
Nope, that's bamboo. Okay.
And now for the next move, looks like it's going to be more like in the 300 to 320 range.
Sounds
for
good.
Staying on the ridge.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead, watch lead. Yeah. Yeah.
Getting pushed.
So we're still on the move.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm looking 303.
Okay.
Okay, that ship move is complete maybe 2 minutes ago, so you should be just finishing your swing.
Right. Get oriented here and come up a bit. Looks like you're a little heavy, huh? After that rock.
No,
you
you know
guys
what
can
that
be
is?
too
That's
much.
the current.
That is a black
All down
coral.
well, pushing in.
Yeah.
No, did we image? I think we might have imaged one of these, but now that Tina's on here.
I know I imaged one, but
What does
I did it
310
while
look
we
like
were
to you,
moving, so it
co-pilot,
was
for the next
snap-snap.
move? Does that look
Oh,
about?
okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I think so.
Trying to think. I think Scott might have. We did one early on too. I think Scott called it a possible alternatopathes or a possible chrysopathes, if I remember.
I think you guys are ready for a move.
Oh, yeah.
Bridge RV now.
Let's see if we can see
Where's
another one of
This
those.
is the bridge. Go ahead.
Where are we?
Yeah, we'd like to move
There we
range
go.
30 meters, bearing 310 degrees, speed 0.2 knots.
Range 30 meters, bearing 310 degrees, speed 0.2 knots.
Good copy.
Coming up.
Got a lyrate primnoid, possibly that calyptrophora that we just imaged. It's just a smaller colony off to the left. And more pillow lavas right here in the center, and sort of almost, I don't know if it's just pillows that are all completely covered with manganese crust and they're all merged together by manganese crust, or whether or not this is the way the lava came out
Thanks,
many
Bridge.
years ago, like millions of years ago.
Looks like we're getting a little steeper too here.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Yep.
should be, yeah.
Yep.
So I was just talking to
north.
Nav about this, and we're sort of on the southern edge of this ridge, and if that's not that productive, we could try to scoot over to the northern edge, kind of right into the current, so it may be difficult, but let's just see what we find as we get into steeper terrain first.
All right, pilots, we're going for a quick video change here.
You might want to tilt your cam up just a little bit, Don, for the benefit of those riding along, just to see.
Yeah, see what's coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, copy that. Something, bamboo or something up ahead.
Got a few things along this edge. These are all things we've seen before.
Okay.
Be lovely to get into that dense stand that we were at shortly after we touched down, where we had a bit of everything going on.
Something up in the water column. You want to zoom in quick on this thing, see what it is?
Crustacean.
Yeah. Oh, there, he's gone. Okay.
So more whips. There might be a little more stuff starting to show up ahead. Not really. Not certain I'm ever hopeful. Don, just to let you know, Don's now the pilot here. Chris Ma has not seen a sea star today, and
Okay.
he's being he's quiet because of this. He's a little stressed right now. So if you
Not
spot
stressed. I'm just looking at the screen.
I'll put my starfish glasses on
Yeah,
and see
if
if
you-
we can.
if you spot one,
Yeah.
because I've got to sleep with him every night, right? He's in the same bunk room, and
Can't help you there.
no, okay. Look at these beautiful rounded pillow formations. That's how lava comes out of the seafloor at depth, as we've talked about before. And lots of Walteria at the site, these euplectellid, funny euplectellid vase-shaped sponges. Now there's a few things, little different things showing up.
Yeah.
A little larger bamboos. So
Okay. Anything you want to look at in particular, or just
let's
keep on making tracks here?
yeah, for a little bit, just to give us an idea, because we are coming up on the steeper stuff. I can see that current sort of wrapping
It
down.
is. Yeah, you can see the particles coming through, and it is getting a little tough for me to keep trudging ahead here.
So I think that this coral right in front, pilot, maybe we could take a look at this.
Okay.
I think it's a corallid, but again, with one of these big, huge brittle stars in it.
You're going to want to come right and north when you finish up here. Get back in front.
bridge. Move
Okay.
complete.
Move complete. Thanks, Bridge.
Okay, video, give me a zoom on that, partial zoom. Whoops, oh, sorry, hold on a second. Hold on.
Hemicralium.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So that's a partial.
Yep, that's what it
All
is.
right, stand. Oops.
Yeah, got a toe down now.
Yeah,
You'll be
yeah.
all right.
This guy's got his arms curled around the branches. You were commenting on the fact that the other one didn't so much.
Yeah, well, they're quite large.
Okay, go
When you
ahead.
unravel the arms,
I'll swing
easily
around a little bit.
10 to 20 centimeters. But as you can see, this one's got all of the arms kind of wrapped back and around all of the branches.
That's
so
not quite full.
this isn't as tightly
Okay.
compressed as some of the ones that I've seen, but
Go ahead and go
so you got a
full.
good idea of
Yeah,
the
I'm still
spread.
moving a bit.
That's full.
Maybe it's just harder for them to roll their arms around tightly on a hard coral like this. It's a hard coral in the sense that it's not a scleractinian hard coral like in shallow
Yeah,
water.
the skeleton's more developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. It was the same hemicorallium that the other one was on as well. Interesting.
Right.
Sure. It could also be that the arms are simply deployed to feed or whatever it is they're doing.
Co-pilot, you want to take the camera there and
Sure.
go down the base? I can't reach that with my little fingers here.
Need longer fingers.
We need a closer stick.
But I'm good whenever
Yeah.
you guys want to move on.
Okay, roger that. Copy. I have video whenever you're done.
Video's good.
Okay.
Once you set up, I'll call the next move in.
Okay.
310 still
So
looking
I've
to
seen a
apply?
few coralliids today,
Maybe.
but not a whole
So
lot.
Don, you gotta get up and in
Comparison to
front
one
of
of
me.
the sites
'cause
we
I'm
saw
climbing a
2
hill
days
here.
ago.
I'm
Coming
floating
up
up a little bit.
and coming to starboard.
Get the impression that there might all this the dynamics of settlement
Push.
seem to be different here. There's more of a current, more sponges. Hemicorallium was the dominant.
Current's
at
pushing
the
you
other
back
site.
pretty hard, huh?
Yeah, it is.
And it's
Don't be
switched
afraid
right
to give
around.
it some
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah.
I don't want to go crashing into anything.
There you are.
Make sure I get up enough and then
Punch it.
get some juice there.
The way that bamboo coral's leaning over there is from the
Yeah.
current.
Yeah, we're getting into some interesting water.
Push into the terrain a little bit more and just crawl right up it.
Pilot, is your camera tilted up a little?
It is.
It is all fixed. Oh, he's fixing it. Right on.
Nice, thank you.
Giving us, this is the fisheye view, and that, what I mean by that is I've got my fisheye on right now looking for fish. Once we have get up above the bottom, we can spot fish sometimes a little more quickly than we can.
Still like
Kinda
310
do it every once in a
co-pilot?
while to go up and down.
Or maybe just a little bit to starboard?
320 maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, that'll take us right up this.
Okay.
You guys ready for me to call that in?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Bridge, RV nav.
This is the bridge. Go ahead.
Yeah, ready for a move. Range 30 meters. Bearing
Back centered up
320
again
degrees.
and heading up.
Speed 0.2 knots.
Tilt up a little bit here.
Yeah.
Show you the terrain ahead.
Range 30 meters, bearing 320, speed 0.2.
Good copy.
Coming up.
So we'd pointed out earlier that there's a possible reason why you're seeing a lot of these whip corals down here, in that if the current is changing direction a lot, and you might have heard Dave Wright a little bit earlier when he was piloting note that the current had completely
ROV
changed
nav,
direction from the
move
morning
initiated.
when it was coming from
Move initiated.
southwest
Thanks,
to
Bridge.
northeast. Right now it's coming from the north and coming south. But if you're in an area where the current is changing regularly, if you can be on a little stalk and a nice flexible stalk, and you just kind of rotate around with the current, you can always maintain optimal feeding orientation to the current. So we're seeing a lot of unbranched colonies down here, and it may be that they can deal with perhaps a location where current's changing a lot.
Yeah, there's probably a. What's that little white Maybe that's a rock shadow. It's a rock shadow. Never mind.
Okay.
Look at these pillows. You can even see the rind there on a broken rind there. That's
Yeah.
pretty wild. Again, I'll say this, as I've said before, seeing these pillow lavas are really just fascinating because you're seeing an event that transpired 70 million years ago or so, and it's frozen in time. It's all crusted over, it's true. But just see if your imagination can take you back to when all of these toothpaste-like tubes all over the seafloor were red hot, molten, just erupting out. And it must have been quite a scene, obviously not all at once, but an amazing scene. It's a titanic battle between the ROV and the current right now. The current's coming right at it.
Hey, Chris, Jonathan again.
Hey, Jonathan, tell us about this incredible terrain we're seeing.
Yeah, you finally found some decent pillow lava structures. So, as you were saying earlier, actually, you've gotten
Looks like there's a crab
so
or something
good
under
at
that
this. I'm very
coral
proud
that's
of you.
just right
But
center.
recognizing
Right
how
of
awesome
center.
pillow lava structures are.
Up above this knob that's sticking out.
Where is it
What about
relative
just
to
mentioning
the
that
lasers
these are
right now?
actually the
Up
primary
above,
textures
to the
that
right.
result from lava
Above the
flows
lasers. Okay,
that
I
we're
don't see
looking at.
any, but I'll...
So go
And so
straight
what
up
happened
right
is,
now.
if I were to give my best guess, because this seamount has
Just right.
not been dated, I would
Down just a
probably
teeny
put
bit
it,
that
that
oh,
coral
maybe
there must be
around
something small.
65
It might be
to
a crab or
75 million
something.
years old to give it
Yeah,
a
see, it's something
pretty
a different
conservative
color
estimate,
there, yeah.
but 65 to 75 million years old, that was still when the dinosaurs were taking their last steps on land before the catastrophic asteroid impact. So back when the dinosaurs were erupting deep below the ocean floor, these lava flows were actually erupting from the submarine ridge that we're diving on. And the other thing that makes these really cool is the ridge lines that we've been diving on for not just this, but almost all of the dives that the Okeanos Explorer has been going on are put on what are called riftstone ridges. And so what happens is each one of these volcanoes has a magma chamber, and as many of you know, the magma chamber stores magma until it becomes so pressurized that it has to escape somewhere, and where the magma goes is propagates along these cracks in the subterranean riftstone ridges, where it squeezes in between these cracks along the axis of the ridge, where it finally pushes it apart so much so that it can start to erupt on the surface of the seafloor. And the textures that result from these typically and most commonly are called pillow lavas. And I think you can see why they'd be called pillow lavas due to this lobate type of texture and morphology or shape that you're seeing on a lot of these images that are being collected right now. And the reason that these pillow lavas erupt this way only beneath the ocean or beneath water is because the immense pressures that were exerted on them. And so due to the pressure that's being exerted onto these lava flows as they're starting to erupt onto the seafloor is why we start to see these types of textures pop up. And they're not the only textures that we see, but they are the most common. And depending on how big and how round they are, you can deduce certain kinds of things about the temperature of the lava when it was erupting, the gas content. A whole bunch of other really neat things can be drawn from just by taking an observation of how these lava flows look. So Yeah, some pretty good,
might as well
pretty
go
good
back
flow
wide,
structures for
Nestle.
10 million or tens of million
Can't
year old
hold it there.
lava flows. So neat stuff,
Not a
guys.
very
Looking
good
at.
view.
Time to go
Yeah,
up the hill.
thank you very
Yeah.
much, Jonathan, for that. And Jonathan Tree is calling in from the University of Hawaii's School of Ocean and Earth Science Technology. And he's working very closely with John Smith, working on geologic interpretation, not only here in Johnston, but at the Northwest Hawaiian Islands and some other places. So thank you, John. We just imaged an unusual crab. That's the first crab that we've seen like this, I think, on the cruise, and it's a lithodid crab. And I think it's an Incotua, but I'm going to look that up right now.
That move was completed about a minute and a half ago, but
Lithodes
we
or
got 2 minutes.
Neolithodes.
Swing left.
Incotua, but I've got to refresh my memory.
Pick up your camera a little bit so you can see where you're going.
Yeah, I like to keep it like level, but that's personal preference. But
I like just to keep that skid in view.
Yeah.
Use your manip cams for that, because in this terrain you want to see what's a little bit
Up
further
ahead.
ahead.
Or it could be a, well, okay, I take that back. It's a lithodid
There you
stone
go.
crab. Get it? Lith?
Sure,
Or
yeah,
did it?
lithoid crab.
So those
Yeah.
of you who wonder about the name, that's what lith means, is rock, so
Yes.
or stone, if you will. So it's a stone crab. And I noticed that Scott France and the Okeanos Explorer back in 2015 in Johnston documented a lithodid called Paralomus new species. And so it's possible that is what it was instead. I was thinking it was a different species of lithodid, but sure looks like the one that's in the Okeanos Animal Guide, or yeah, this one should be in the guide
So
right
give
now.
yourself a little bit more clearance above the terrain so you can move forward faster. Because I'm coming over the top of you here.
Okay.
And it's getting a little steeper.
Yes.
We're getting another Iridogorgia and getting some more interesting terrains. It's kind of nice to check out some of the flats and see what's down there, and get up to a little steeper stuff and see what's here as well.
So you got to move more quickly, Don, because you can see this stuff to your left here. You look at Sirius view. You don't want to get find yourself behind and
there's a bunch of corals up
hung
on the
up
top here.
In the lumps there.
Okay.
Another corallium down there. We just had a close-up of one of those. Just
Give it
few
a little
minutes
gas
ago.
and get out front. I'm looking
Still
way
a lot of
down.
leggy corals today, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. So it's starting to pick up a little, but diversity is still largely
give it some up when you
homogeneous.
give it a lot of
Yeah.
axial, and you'll be fine.
There's a.
There you go.
No,
What'd you
never
say?
mind, a rock.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Now, is up there? Do you guys want another one? Or?
There's a
Another move?
Calophagostock sponge. You can see
Or would you like to wait a
along
minute?
the breeze there.
I'd say go ahead and make another move. No?
Yeah.
Okay. 320 looks good to me.
So just get comfortable with punching it
think you
from
can
time to
see
time,
that
Don.
the-
So you know
Pretty
what you
jar
got.
of now.
The sponge is probably
Got in the
designed to
tank
have
and-
the current enter the sponge.
It'll
as
move
fast
if you want
as
to.
to
Yeah, ready
the
for
ball.
move, same as last.
This is in
Range
the family
30 meters,
Rosellidi.
bearing 320 degrees,
Sea
speed
means
0
today,
decimal 2
and,
knots.
they'll bend on over in
Range
the
30
current.
meters,
Kind of see the
bearing
current
320
entering what
degrees,
we would
speed
normally
0
consider the
decimal 2
backside of the
knots.
sponge.
Coming up.
And then it probably exits through the rounder convex surface on the opposite side. So it's also a very elegant design to respond to changing current flow.
On the right, there's a white
Oh,
dot.
You're in a real happy place now.
I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's there's a
Time to
coral
look
and then there's
around.
a white. Maybe that's
Where are we looking?
on the,
watch
so on the left side.
Left side, okay.
Yeah, middle of center. Yeah, now it's on the right. There's a